Uncle Chris. I can guess why, but I'll give you the floor on the first time you met Larry Fitzgerald and why you have that name of Uncle Chris to Larry.
Well, I wanted him to know that he had a great dad. And I was a guy that grew up without a dad. So I never try to fill those gaps when you're mentoring young people that when you're in that role, you might be the same age as their father. The other thing I wanted to know, too, I wasn't going to be his friend. I was there to be a mentor to him. I was there to be able to teach him things that he wasn't going to be able to get. And I'm there to tell him the truth. And I think that's what he alluded to later in the speech. And I said, I'm not a brother either. You got a brother. And I'm going to be kind of one of those weird type relationships. I'm going to be like your uncle. So he played it to the max, and that's what he's always called me. And I've accepted it. And he realizes that Uncle Chris comes with a lot of different things. And, I'm not here to try to be one of his friends or say things that he needs to be able to hear. And that's why he's been one of my great prodigies, one of my great students, one of the best mentees I've ever had.
Well, let me say this. For Kirk Cousins to get worked up enough to go at somebody as strong as Max Crosby tells you that he had to be pretty pissed off about the whole situation. And I know a lot of people are thinking that Max Crosby wants to be traded. He wants to be there right now, and I think he's going to be there. I think the real question with Max Crosby and his future in Vegas comes down to what happens if this team doesn't perform well. What if there's a contender out there before the trade deadline that wants to beef up its pass rush? Could we see a team later this season, if the Raiders' season is slipping away, make a run at Max Crosby? And I could see that being a possibility in October. That I see. But right now, no, Max wants to be there, and I just think he's worked up, he's intense. He wound up hitting Kirk. I didn't see the two plays. Kirk took offense to it, and here we go. They're both suspended for Saturday. Like, has Kirk Cousins ever been suspended in his life for a practice? I would venture to say no. I'll bet that's never happened before. It was a first, and it looked like he went to the Backstreet Boys concert that night with his wife, so he got a real nice day out of it. He got to skip practice and then go to a concert that night. Good for him.
Referring again to Larry Fitzgerald Sr., who was the beat writer covering your teams, right, with Dennis Green as the head coach, and Larry was a ball boy, essentially.
Yeah,
for your team.
I mean, there's some stories. He covered the team. Him and I were friends, and when it was time for Larry to go to military school, being a local journalist, there was some cost, and we never talked about it. But I'm the one that paid for Larry to go to Valley Forge. I'm the one that suggested he go to Valley Forge. I thought it would change his life, and that investment is one of the things he talks about. And his dad and I came up with the fictitious contract, and he would be doing some ghost writing for me. He'd be doing some things I needed in Minnesota, and then that was going to change to that was what was going to take care of the charge for the school. His dad never did any writing for me, but Larry got to where he needed to be.
No kidding. Why did you do that back in the day, Chris? Why?
That we just thought, the mom, the dad, and myself, we just thought, and it was my recommendation. I had seen some players that had a disposition like Larry's, and they had gone to military school. And number one player of that would be Eddie George. And I thought that Larry, at that time, he was still very young, and he shouldn't go to college. He should spend that next year getting ready mentally on and off the field, because he just wasn't that disciplined. And what, it brought to him was the discipline, that military type lifestyle. He hated it, but it really built him, and it also led him to going to Pittsburgh at the time compared to going to the Ohio State with Walt Harris. And I was totally for it. They took care of him the whole time he was there. They built a great relationship, and they were going to build an offense around him when he was at Pittsburgh. And he felt very, very comfortable with that. But that was the reason why. He had some shortcomings at the time that young people, it can be, something that stops them from reaching greatness. And it was my recommendation. His parents agreed to it, and Larry went through with it.
What's it like for now? You're watching him go through the gauntlet. You're part of the gauntlet, and then you go up on the stage with him, and you put the jacket on him. You put the jacket on him. I mean, what a moment that must have been for both of you, Chris.
And there's nothing like it, man. There's nothing, because you've helped out a lot of people in your career, people in the broadcast business. You put people on, you've employed people, but we never ever expect to get paid out by anything. We never expect, besides being mentioned in their success, we never expect to be a part of that. And 2 nights before, he asked me, and I told him it's the nicest thing anybody's ever asked me to do, to continue to play a part in their success, because there's a lot of people, a lot of coaches, a lot of teammates, He's got Kurt Warner's got a gold jacket, and Randy Moss has a gold jacket. But the combination of Randy giving him the knock at the door, and then me giving him the jacket, it really crystallized that time we had in Minnesota. It really meant something. It meant something to this young man. It changed his arc in life forever, and he remembered and marked it down, and was making sure that we played a part in his celebration. And that's the humbling thing to do.
And I've seen recently you made comments about how close this team is, how it feels a little bit different than it has in the past. I guess, what is it exactly? Offense, defense? Like, how are you guys gelling during camp?
Yeah, I think you guys have been in the locker room before. You understand when you sit upstairs in the cafeteria of certain guys sit in certain groups, and kind of stays like that. But I think this team, it's so mixed, it's so diverse. You walk upstairs, and it doesn't matter if there's an open seat next to the O-line, the D-line, the linebackers, whatever it is. You're sitting down, you're able to have fun conversations and just hang out. And at the end of the day, like, we just want to have fun. We want to play this game. We want to have fun. We want to do it well. And I think that when obviously when you play well, it's more fun. But we want to have that same energy each and every day. We don't want to change who we are. And I think from top to bottom, just how everybody is meshing and gelling, I think it's pretty special.
My parents, Paul and Judy, thank you. You gave me far more than opportunities. You gave me values. You taught me that hard work, humility, accountability, perseverance, and faith. You taught me that if something was worth doing, it's worth doing it right. That character matters more than recognition. The countless hours driving me to practice, games, and camps, sacrifices I didn't fully understand then, but appreciate more every day. Everything that I became as a football player started with the lessons that you taught me. Thank you for believing in me long before anyone else did. And Dad, I can't tell you how special it was for you to have you as my coach throughout my childhood.
To finish in the top 3 at MVP vote this year, Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs?
I'll go Bijan. I'll go him. We've already seen Bijan carry the ball and touch the ball a significant number of times. We haven't seen that from Gibbs yet, and I know I'm nitpicking here. How about this? I will put a pin in this one, and Marshall Falk, who knows all about being a bell cow, who can run it and catch it and win an MVP in the process. He knows that, so we'll ask him this. Put a pin in that.
Love it.
Right now, I'll go Bijan.
It's gonna be cool. It's starting to feel more real because you hear a lot about the gold jacket dinner from the guys, and then you get here and then there's more of them, and more of them talk to you about it. And we had a toast in the bus gallery yesterday, and you look around and it's just Hall of Famers, and it's pretty cool. And you walk in and you're like, I don't know if these guys know who I am. I'm kind of just trying to find my way a little bit. And then Edgerrin James comes up, and Calvin Johnson came up, and you walk around and you look across the room at Steve Atwater and Zach Thomas, and I mean, there's a million guys. But when you're around all of those guys in a room like that, you just look and see these are guys that I watched growing up. I came to the Hall of Fame when I was a little kid, and you look at names when you're that age of Hall of Famers, and now I get to see them all, which I think is it kind of all comes together this weekend.
What honestly, like, what would be going on in the offensive line meeting room going into a game against those two guys? Scheming, or would you be saying we're not going to lose today? Like, you're going to try and speak it into existence? Like, what are you doing?
You scheme it as much as you can, and then you maybe chip on Miles if you get out, or the tight end chip on the way out. Mm-hmm. But somebody's going to have to do some one-on-one duty in that game
against Aaron Donald potentially,
or Miles, or both. You're going to have to. Sometimes you're going to double. Sometimes Garrett's going to be one-on-one. But you're going to have if you're smart, you're going to have Miles on one side. You're always going to have Donald opposite. You're not going to have, or you might put them both on one side and run some games with them. I mean, you can do that.
And by the way, the Rams aren't the only two talented. Obviously, they're two guys that you're going to have again as neighbors in the room across the hallway one day.
Oh, first ballot.
Yeah.
First ballot.
They're going to be first ballot roommates of you one day.